You'll never make it in this business, Stella. Stick to your day job. Those words from my oldest sister, Freya, still ring in my ears, accompanied by the chorus of laughter from my other sisters around our parents' dinner table. That was 6 months ago, when I announced my plan to open a bakery. I'm Stella, the youngest of 4 sisters, and I've spent my entire life being told what I couldn't do. Pass the potatoes. Annika had said that night, dismissing my dream like yesterday's news. At least working at the bank keeps you fed. I gripped my fork tighter, forcing a smile. My YouTube baking channel already has 10,000 subscribers. People love my recipes. Oh, honey, Chloe chimed in, her voice dripping with false sympathy. Anyone can follow a recipe. That doesn't make you a business owner. I can still feel the heat rising in my cheeks as I stood up from that table, leaving my untouched dinner behind. My sisters had always been like this. Freya with her corporate success, Chloe with her art gallery connections, and Annika with her sharp tongue and sharper wit. They'd made an Olympic sport out of putting me down. They're just looking out for you, Mom had said later, finding me in the kitchen stress-baking chocolate chip cookies. Opening a business is risky. Watch me, I whispered, more to myself than to her. The next day, I walked into my bank job and handed in my resignation. My hands were shaking, but my voice wasn't. My colleague Josiah caught up with me in the parking lot. "You're really doing it?" he asked, matching my pace. "Someone has to prove them wrong." He grabbed my arm, stopping me. "Let me help. I've got business experience, and you've got the talent. We could be partners." I studied his face, searching for any hint of mockery, but found only sincerity. "Why would you want to?" "Because I've tasted your apple cinnamon rolls," he grinned, "and because everyone deserves a chance to prove their family wrong." That was the moment everything changed. Not because of Josiah's offer, though that helped. It was because for the first time, I stopped seeing my sister's doubt as a wall and started seeing it as fuel. I signed the lease on a small storefront the following week. Every time I doubted myself, I'd remember their laughter, their dismissive waves, their condescending smiles. Each memory was another brick in the foundation of what would become Sweet Revenge Bakery. Let them laugh. I'll give them something to choke on. Opening day was quiet. Almost too quiet. I stood behind the counter of Sweet Revenge, watching people walk past our window displays without a second glance. Josiah was arranging our signature lavender macarons for the 3rd time. "Maybe we should have spent more on advertising," I muttered, checking my phone again. 0 notifications. "Give it time," Josiah said, stepping back to admire his work. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was Starbucks. The bell above the door chimed, and Emily, my best friend since 3rd grade, burst in with her phone held high. "Oh my God, Stella, have you checked your YouTube notifications?" "Been kind of busy stress-eating our inventory," I admitted, holding up a half-eaten chocolate croissant. "Your midnight baking video went viral. The one where you're making that galaxy mirror glaze cake at 3 a.m. because you couldn't sleep. It's everywhere." I nearly dropped the croissant. "What?" Emily shoved her phone in my face. The view counter was climbing past 100,000. The comment section was flooding with people asking where they could buy my creations. "Holy shit," Josiah whispered, peering over my shoulder. The bell chimed again. And again. By noon, we had a line stretching around the block. My hands were shaking as I boxed up orders, but I couldn't stop smiling. "Is it true you're the girl from the video?" a customer asked, recording me with her phone. "The one who makes the galaxy cakes?" "That's me," I replied, trying to sound more confident than I felt. "Can you make one for my daughter's birthday?" Before I could answer, 3 more people joined in with their own requests. Josiah grabbed my arm and pulled me into the kitchen. "We need to hire help," he said, running his fingers through his hair. "Like yesterday." I was about to agree when my phone buzzed. Freya's name flashed across the screen. I declined the call. "Your sisters?" Josiah asked, raising an eyebrow. "They can wait. We've got customers." That night, after closing, Emily helped us clean up while I filmed another video, this time showing how to make our best-selling lavender macarons. "You should see your sisters' faces," Emily said, wiping down tables. Their Instagram stories are full of my talented sister posts now. Funny how success changes their tune. I almost dropped the piping bag. They're posting about me? Don't let it get to you, Josiah warned. Focus on what's important. He was right. I had orders to fill, videos to film, and a growing business to run. My phone buzzed again. Chloe this time. I switched it to silent and returned to my macarons. Let them wait. Let them wonder. Let them watch me rise. Success, I was learning, is the sweetest revenge of all. 3 months after our viral moment, I was elbow deep in cake batter when Chloe walked into my kitchen. Not the bakery's front door. She'd snuck through the back entrance like a guilty teenager. Your security sucks, she said, hovering near the industrial mixer. I kept whisking. Most people don't break into bakeries at 7 a.m. I brought coffee. She set down 2 cups from the expensive place across town. And I need to talk. About what? How baking isn't a real career? The whisk clinked against the bowl harder than necessary. I sold 3 paintings last year. Her voice cracked. 3? Meanwhile, you're all over social media. Mom showed me your feature in Food and Wine. I finally looked up. Chloe, always the fashionable one, was wearing paint-stained jeans and a sweater that had seen better days. Her usual perfect makeup was missing. Why are you here, Chloe? Because... She slumped onto a flour-dusted stool. Because I was wrong. And jealous. And I don't know how to make art that matters anymore. The timer dinged. I pulled out a tray of croissants, their buttery scent filling the kitchen. Chloe watched as I glazed them with practiced strokes. You make it look so easy, she whispered. It's not. I failed at croissants for 6 months straight. Josiah threatened to ban me from buying butter. A ghost of a smile crossed her face. Remember when we were kids? You used to let me lick the spoons. Before you decided baking was beneath you? I couldn't keep the bitterness from my voice. I was stupid and scared. She pulled out her phone, showing me her Instagram. Look at these comments. Everyone loves your work. You're creating something people want. My art just sits there. My phone buzzed. A text from Freya. We need to talk. Business proposition. Lunch today? Freya's trying to get a piece of this too, isn't she? Chloe asked, noticing my expression. Apparently. She lost her job, Chloe blurted out. The corporate merger, it didn't go well. Annika's magazine is struggling too. We're all... She gestured vaguely. Falling apart while you're succeeding. I slid a fresh croissant across the counter. Chloe broke it open, steam rising between us like a peace offering. I'm not asking for a job, she said quickly. I miss my little sister. The front door chimed. Early customers. Josiah's voice carried from the storefront, greeting them. I have to get back to work, I said, wiping my hands on my apron. I know. Chloe stood up. But Stella? I really am sorry. I watched her leave through the back door just as Freya's next text came through. Please, I need your help. Karma, it seemed, was just getting started. Freya and Annika arrived together, looking as out of place in my bakery as penguins in a desert. Freya wore her power suit, the one she used to wear to board meetings, while Annika clutched her designer handbag like a shield. Nice place, Annika said, her eyes scanning the exposed brick walls and vintage fixtures. Very rustic. Cut the small talk, I said, leading them to a corner table. Why are you really here? Freya cleared her throat. We've been thinking... That's new, I muttered, earning a sharp look from both of them. We've been thinking, Freya continued, that maybe we could help expand your business. I have corporate experience and Annika knows marketing. You mean the marketing job you just lost? I interrupted, watching Annika's face flush. Chloe told me. Look, you little... Annika started, but Freya grabbed her arm. Yes, okay? We lost our jobs. Happy now? Freya's professional facade cracked. Is that what you wanted to hear? Josiah appeared with a tray of fresh samples. our new recipe testing session for customers. Everything okay here? Fine, I said, not taking my eyes off my sisters. They were just leaving. Stella, please. Freya's voice had lost its usual commanding tone. I have a mortgage. Annika's about to lose her apartment. Remember when I needed help? I picked up a sample cookie, breaking it in half. When I asked to borrow startup money? What did you say, Freya? She looked down at the table. I said get a real job. And you, Annika? What was it you said about my YouTube channel? That it was embarrassing, she whispered. I pushed the plate of samples toward them. Try these, tell me what you taste. They exchanged confused looks, but each took a bite. Chocolate? Annika ventured. Sea salt, Freya added. Humility, I said, with a hint of karma. Josiah snorted behind me, quickly turning it into a cough. If you want jobs here, I continued, you'll start at the bottom. Minimum wage, early mornings, heavy lifting, no special treatment. You can't be serious, Annika protested. Dead serious. You'll learn every aspect of this business, just like I did. Or you can walk out that door and keep your pride. Your choice. Freya straightened her jacket. When can we start? Tomorrow, 4 a.m. Wear comfortable shoes and be prepared to work harder than you ever have. 4 a.m.? Annika squeaked. That's when the magic happens. Josiah said, grinning. Better get some sleep, ladies. They left looking shell-shocked, their designer heels clicking against the floor. Emily, who'd been pretending not to eavesdrop while restocking the display case, walked over. You're really going to hire them? I smiled, picking up the remaining samples. Sometimes the best revenge isn't serving it cold. It's serving it fresh from the oven. You're doing it wrong, I said, watching Freya struggle with the industrial mixer. The speed needs to be lower for bread dough. I have an MBA, she snapped, flour dusting her once perfect hair. I think I can handle a mixing bowl. Tell that to the dough climbing up the hook. It had been 2 weeks since my sisters started working at Sweet Revenge. Freya had already broken 2 mixing bowls, and Annika had burned 3 batches of cookies. Their perfectly manicured nails were chipped, their designer clothes replaced with basic black work pants and kitchen-safe shoes. This is ridiculous, Annika complained, hauling a bag of sugar from the storage room. We should be handling the business side, not manual labor. Like you handled your magazine's social media? I asked sweetly. How many followers did you lose last quarter? The bag of sugar hit the floor with a thud. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Maybe a little. Josiah stepped between us. Annika, those display cases won't stock themselves. Freya, turn off the mixer before that dough becomes a weapon. They shuffled off to their tasks, muttering under their breath. I turned to Josiah. Think I'm being too hard on them? No, watch this. He raised his voice. Hey, Freya, remember when you told Stella her dream was cute but unrealistic? The sound of metal trays clattering echoed through the kitchen. Or when Annika posted that Instagram story mocking Stella's first failed batch of macarons? He continued. Okay, we get it, Annika shouted from the front. The morning rush hit hard. Freya fumbled orders while Annika struggled with the espresso machine. I watched them sweat, curse, and finally, surprisingly, start to work together. The chocolate croissants are running low, Freya called out. On it, Annika responded, already heading to the kitchen. Then disaster struck. Annika tripped, sending a tray of fresh pastries flying. Instead of helping, I stood back and watched. This is impossible, she exploded, tears streaming down her face. You're setting us up to fail. You're punishing us. No, I said calmly. I'm teaching you what I learned the hard way. Success isn't about your degree or your connections. It's about getting back up when you fall. By humiliating us? Freya demanded, joining the confrontation. By showing you what it takes. Every burn, every failed recipe, every early morning. That's what built this place. Not an MBA, not social media expertise. Just hard work and determination. They stared at me, realization dawning on their faces. Now, I said, pointing to the mess on the floor. "Clean that up. We've got customers waiting." As they scrambled for the mop, I caught Josiah's approving nod. Sometimes the best lessons aren't taught, they're experienced. The kitchen erupted in chaos when Chloe showed up unannounced during the lunch rush. She took one look at our sisters in their flower-covered uniforms and burst out laughing. "Oh, how the mighty have fallen," she said, pulling out her phone. "This is priceless." "Don't you dare," Annika snarled, lunging for the phone. "Stop," I shouted as a tray of eclairs nearly toppled. "Everyone out. Break room, now." Emily appeared from the front. "I'll watch the counter." In the break room, my sisters faced off like wrestlers in a ring. Freya's usually perfect posture was slumped. Annika's eyes were red from exhaustion, and Chloe couldn't stop smirking. "This isn't working," Freya announced. "We're not your puppets, Stella. This whole thing is just your revenge fantasy." "Revenge?" I slammed my hand on the table. "You think that's what this is about?" "Isn't it?" Annika challenged. "Making us work like dogs, humiliating us?" "You want to talk about humiliation?" My voice rose. "How about when you posted videos mocking my first farmer's market stall? Or when you told everyone at Christmas dinner that my business would fail within a month?" Chloe's smirk faded. "We were jealous, okay? Is that what you want to hear?" "What I want," I said, "is for you to understand what it takes to build something from nothing. To know what it feels like to have your sisters tear you down instead of build you up." The room fell silent. Josiah appeared in the doorway but stayed quiet, watching. "Remember when we were kids?" I continued. "Before careers and competition, we used to bake cookies with Mom. Freya would read the recipe, Annika would mix, Chloe would decorate, and I'd clean up. We were a team." "That was a long time ago," Freya whispered. "It doesn't have to be." I pulled out my phone and showed them the email I'd received that morning. "Food Network wants to feature the bakery. They love the idea of sisters working together." "What?" they said in unison. "But only if we can prove we're actually a family business. They want authenticity, not drama." "So what are you saying?" Annika asked. "I'm saying we have a choice. We can keep fighting or we can be sisters again. Real ones, supporting each other, learning from each other. And if we choose to be sisters?" Freya's voice was cautious. "Then you get real positions, fair pay, actual responsibilities, but you have to earn it. Not because you're my sisters, but because you're capable." Chloe put her phone away. "I could help with the decorating. My art background could be perfect for custom designs." I finished. The tension in the room shifted. Not gone, but different. "So," I said, "what's it going to be? Sisters or strangers?" The Food Network cameras arrived on a Tuesday. Freya had organized everything down to the minute, while Annika handled the social media buzz. Chloe's artistic touch had transformed our display cases into edible art galleries. "5 minutes, everyone," the producer called out. "Wait," Freya grabbed my arm. "Before we do this, I need to say something." The others gathered around as the crew set up their equipment. "I'm leaving the bakery," Freya announced. "What?" Annika's jaw dropped. "After everything?" "Let me finish." Freya took a deep breath. "I'm leaving because I finally understand what you were trying to teach us, Stella. Success isn't about controlling everything. It's about finding your path. And this isn't mine." "Where will you go?" Chloe asked. "I'm starting a business consulting firm. For small businesses like Sweet Revenge was in the beginning." She smiled at me. "If that's okay with you, little sister," I pulled her into a hug. "More than okay." 2 minutes, the producer called. "I have something to say too." Annika stepped forward. "I've been awful. To all of you, but especially to you, Stella. I was so focused on being the cool, successful sister that I couldn't handle someone else shining brighter." "Touching," Chloe smirked, but her eyes were wet. "Now I feel like I need to make a confession too." "Save it," I laughed. "We all know you've been stealing cookie dough." "Not just cookie dough," Josiah chimed in. She's been taking recipe notes too. Planning her own cafe, right, Chloe? Chloe blushed. I was going to tell you. Rolling in 30 seconds, the producer interrupted. It's okay, I said, looking at each of my sisters. That's what family does. We inspire each other, even when we're driving each other crazy. Speaking of crazy, Annika said, I'd like to stay, if you'll have me. I'm actually starting to love this place. 30 seconds, on one condition, I said, straightening Annika's apron. No more sabotaging the Instagram posts because you think they're not aesthetic enough. Deal, she laughed. But can we please change the font? 10 seconds. We took our positions behind the counter, flour on our aprons and smiles on our faces. Not the fake smiles we used to wear at family gatherings, but real ones. And action. Welcome to Sweet Revenge Bakery, I began, looking directly into the camera. Where every recipe has a story, and every story has a lesson. I'm Stella, and these are my sisters. The revenge I dreamed of suddenly seemed small compared to what we'd built instead. Sometimes the sweetest victory isn't in getting even. It's in growing together. The Food Network episode aired during our weekly family dinner, a tradition we'd recently revived, this time held in the bakery's kitchen after closing. I can't believe you kept that blooper reel, Annika groaned as we watched her drop an entire tray of macarons on camera. The internet loves it, I said, passing her my phone. Your hashtag is trending. Annika the Clumsy, Chloe read, dodging the napkin Annika threw at her. Hey, at least you're famous now. Freya walked in carrying a cake. Not one of ours, but her own creation. It was slightly lopsided, with uneven frosting and too much decoration. My first solo attempt, she admitted, setting it down. Made it for tonight. We all stared at it in silence. It's... Chloe started. Horrible. Freya finished, laughing. But I made it myself. And now I finally understand why you love this so much, Stella. Creating something with your own hands? It's different. Speaking of creating, Annika said, pulling out her tablet. Wait until you see the numbers from our new online ordering system. We've got requests from 3 different states. 4, Josiah corrected, walking in with Emily. Oregon just joined the list. I cut into Freya's cake. It was dense and a little dry, but as I took a bite, I'd never tasted anything better. Remember when you said I'd never make it in this business? I asked Freya. I was wrong, she said softly. We were all wrong. No, I shook my head. You were right, I couldn't make it alone. But together? I gestured around the kitchen at the empire we'd built. Together, we're unstoppable. Even if some of us are leaving? Chloe asked, referring to our upcoming cafe venture. Especially then, I said, because now we know how to support each other properly. To Sweet Revenge, Annika raised her coffee cup, where we learned that the best revenge isn't revenge at all. To family, Freya added. To failing and getting back up, Chloe chimed in. To all of it, I finished. The good, the bad, and the perfectly imperfect. Emily started clearing plates. You know what this means, right? You'll have to change the bakery's name. Sweet Revenge doesn't really fit anymore. I looked around at my sisters. Freya with her crooked cake, Annika reviewing sales figures, Chloe sketching new designs, all of them exactly where they needed to be. Actually, I said, I think we'll keep it. Not as a reminder of what we were, but as a celebration of what we've become. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is letting go of the need for revenge at all. That's deep, Josiah teased. Shut up and eat your cake, I laughed, feeling the last traces of old bitterness melt away like chocolate in the sun.